All right, hey everybody, how you doing today? I hope you've all had a great week so far. Oh yeah, mine's not been too bad today. Well, the weather is pretty strange. It's basically summertime weather here, even though it's in the middle of January. But it looks like a cold front's going to come through tonight, so I'm expecting quite a bit of rain. But let's go ahead and get started. Oh, also, I hope it's a bit noticeable, but I found a way to hopefully fix my internet a bit, so I have I've like doubled my bit rate on the video, so I hope that extra quality comes through. But anyway, so today we're going to work more on the Twitch interactive card game. You might have heard of a game called Concentration, or I always knew it as Memory, but basically there's a grid of cards, and each card has a specific picture on them. And they start all face down, and so you guess 2 cards, and if it's correct, or if those 2 cards match, because every card has a pair, then you would get points. If they don't match, then the cards go back in their same place, but face down. And so you kind of have to remember which cards have been revealed where, so you can figure out where the pairs are. And how this game is Twitch interactive is that Twitch viewers will be able to vote on the pairs, and the game will just pick a pair out of them, out of all the submitted guesses, and see if it's a match or not. And then anybody who guessed that will get points, which they can use to spend on either changing the rules of the game or making fancy effects happen. Oh yeah, and of course the images on the cards will also be viewer icons, so that should be pretty fun. Alright, so yesterday we were working on trying to finish up the flow for the game so that we could actually do more than one round. And as we could see from here, we got to the part where it guesses or figures out if a pair is matching, and then reveals the pair, and then it would also tell you if it's a match or not and award points. But we are going to leave the presentation and points for later. So, oops. Sorry about that. I forgot to silent my phone. But so now what we need to do, which I already have started on it, I have a reveal timer component here, but nothing sees if the timer is finished. And once that timer is done, it will hide any pair or any cards that aren't a pair, and then go on to the next turn. Alright, so I already have this guess timer watcher, which is pretty much what I'm going to want to use. So yeah, I can go ahead and kind of copy this, but let's create a new component system. And this will be, I guess, reveal timer watcher. And once this timer is done, then it would transition to the next phase. Oh yeah, it has to recompile a bit after you change namespaces around. Oops, what did I just do? Oh, oh, I see, okay. Yeah, what I pressed Control A instead of Control S. So it selected everything instead of saving. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to do. I had to switch around the namespaces. Okay, and this is telling me that it's a duplicate system because I accidentally, well, not accidentally, but I haven't renamed this class yet. So then when I just call this reveal timer watcher, that error should go away. Alright, so let's call this the reveal timer. And we want this to be in the reveal phase, so this will only run during that. Okay, so basically it looks through each timer, which there'll only ever be one, but just for I guess completeness, we treat it as an array. And then it sees if the start time plus the period is less than the current time, which means that the timer has completed. And if that's true, then we can transition to the next phase. So first what we want to do is remove the phase reveal guess. Yeah, we can also destroy the timer entity, so that's fine. And then the next component, well, I guess we have to figure out what we want to call the next phase. Okay, let's clean this up a little bit. Kind of want all these phase components to be together. Okay, so we have reveal guess. I guess the next part would be we would want to hide the guess and then what? So, I mean, we might play a little animation during that, but we won't worry about that yet. What else would we do here? I guess really there's nothing else we have to do except I guess we would destroy some entities that are unneeded. And then we would get ready for the next round. So yeah, we need to check to see if somebody's won. Which we might actually do that during the reveal guess phase. Okay, so let's not worry about that just yet. Well, I don't know. Okay, I think I'll just call this the cleanup phase. Round cleanup. Okay, so then we can add that. So I guess let's check to make sure that all this is running correctly. And then after this, yeah, we'll need to, well, I guess the first thing we'll do is we'll want to hide the tiles that have been colored, or anyone that's not a pair anyway. So I'll guess C1, C2. Okay, so then it shows those. Yeah, so now it is. Okay, did it just switch? Okay, yeah, so now it's at the round cleanup, so everything's working good. I wonder. Alright, so here are the tiles that are revealed. They have color updated. I'm not sure about that. So these other tiles that are not revealed just have presented, which means that the card exists, and they have an image and a position. And then the ones that are revealed have a color updated and then a tile revealed component. So I guess what I want to do... Oh, so I know. Yeah, this is kind of temporary because obviously in the final version we won't use colors. It'll like show the picture of the card and then it'll turn it upside down when we hide it again. So I guess I don't really have to worry about making this complete yet, but what I should do is remove the tile revealed component from these and then another system will go and hide them. Let's see. Okay, so do I have like a... just looking to see what this class does. I don't remember. Okay, so what it does is it excuse me, it assigns images to tiles, so yeah, I don't need that. What I'm looking for is the class that originally reveals the tiles, because I'm wondering how that works. I think it's the featured guest picker. No. Oh, here, featured guest tile revealer. Gosh, it was staring at me right in the face. So all it does is it looks at the phase reveal guest, and when that happens, does it run every time? I don't really have to do this, but that's okay. So it looks like this runs every frame that the reveal guest is active, which is probably not what I want to do. Okay, so maybe let's have another component that I can add to this. Alright, so featured guest tiles revealed. And so then what I want to do, yeah, because right now this runs every frame that phase reveal guest is active, which is active that whole time that the timer is going. It doesn't seem to cause any issues, because if you add a component that's already there, it doesn't like throw any errors or anything. But I mean, obviously it's not, I mean, it's wasting a lot of time. So what I should do is, instead of just requiring this singleton, I should require for update yeah, so get entity query and then entity description. Oh yeah, I forgot the new keyword. Okay, and we want it to have the phase reveal guess. Another way I could do this is have another command, like I did before. Well, let's look and see how this would be. So I'd have this component, and then I'd tell it to have none of this component. So what this would mean is that this system would only run if phase reveal guest is active, but this featured guest tiles remove is not active. So then on update, I would add this component to the flow entity. But now that I think about it, it's kind of, I guess, a little presumptuous of this system to do that. I kind of like how I did it with yesterday, where I would add a command to the flow entity, and then the system would run when it detects that command. I think that's a little cleaner. So I guess now the tiles won't automatically reveal themselves, which is okay, because we kind of want to have control over that. Yeah, so let's go back here. I'll get rid of this, and I'll just command show featured. I guess I'll say reveal, since I'm using that word. Featured guess tiles. Okay, so something else will add this, and then this featured guest tile revealer will actually only care about the command, and when it sees the command on the next update, it will delete it. We can do this way. So we already have the buffer system. So we'll just create the buffer here. Buffer system dot create command buffer, and then we'll tell it to remove the that command from the command singleton entity, which is just an entity I've set up to hold all of these command components. And then okay, and instead of creating another buffer here, I just pass the same one. And when does this run? So it runs at the begin presentation. Well, that's, I mean, it doesn't really matter, so that's fine. I was gonna say I should wait until the beginning of the next frame to do this, but I think it will be okay. Alright, so nothing else is affected here. Okay, yeah, I think I like this. So I guess it's the next, yeah, this guest calculation finished washer. Oh, I butchered that. Finished watcher that adds the phase reveal guest will also add that command. Oh. Okay, so let me make sure that this works before I go any further. I'm glad my bitrate's been staying pretty steady, even with a much higher target. I was watching my video from yesterday, and I noticed that it was quite fuzzy, so I do apologize for that. But the new bitrate I think should help. Okay, so yeah, it was revealed, which is good to see. And okay, I think we're good. So what I need to do now is create, I guess, the opposite of this revealer system that just removes the tile revealed component. Alright, so this would be... did I already? No, I didn't create this yet. So it'd be unpaired tile unrevealer. I guess hider is another word for unrevealing something, but... okay, let's copy this and I'll use it as a base. And what do I call this? Like Twitch memory. Okay. So unpaired tile. Oh yeah, I didn't have that capitalized. So again, I'll need to get, yeah, tiles. I don't really need the position specifically, but... and then I want to make another command. So let's go and create command unreveal unpaired tiles. And so what do I need to change here? I need, well, I guess let's work on the job first. So it tries to find the featured guests and then does things based on that. So we don't really care about the featured guests. We actually want to look through basically any tile that has not been matched but is revealed. So close all of this. So we basically just want the entity, but I think we do have to have some data. Do I need the tile position? Okay, so I needed it here because I had to look to find the position that matched the featured guests. But I don't need that here. So I guess... Was it revealed tile? Oh, it's right here. Tile revealed. Yeah, this doesn't have any data, but I don't think that there's a job version that just this. Is there? Oh, it did show up. Oh no, it's asking you to create. Because we actually don't need to get any data. We're just going to mess with the entity. And then we'll require component tag. Oh no, we want to exclude component. What is it? Yeah, exclude component, and then type of... What is it? Matched? Forget. Yeah, tile pair guessed. So we don't want any tile that's been guessed. We don't need this, but we have to, like, it doesn't have a version of the job for each without getting at least one component. But really all we're going to do is take the buffer, parentheses there, or close bracket, and remove the tile revealed component from the entity. And you have to pass this job index because when you run something in parallel on different multi-thread, or sorry, I butchered that. When you run code in parallel on different threads, then you don't know for sure the order that they'll execute, and Unity tries to make this always execute the same way or be deterministic by having you pass this index. So when Unity comes back and executes all the commands in the buffer, it will basically sort the commands by the index and then the time that you inserted them into the queue. So that way you can tell that these commands will always be executed in a certain order. It does that to make debugging a lot easier. But anyway, so I don't need... Yes, so we don't need either of these data arrays. So get rid of that. And okay, I do want to remove the command, but let's unreveal unpaired tiles. Okay, and we will require a query, but we don't really have to save it. So what is it? New entity query description. And what we want is all entities that have the tile revealed component, but none of them that have the tile pair guest component. Oh, I'm missing the closed brackets and a parentheses. Okay. So yeah, I don't need the query there, and I don't need it there either. Okay, and I don't need to worry about the job dependencies. I think that was thunder, so I don't know if you guys could hear that. Or maybe it's just a plane, I don't know. Anyway, I think this is all good. I want it to run then. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and test this, although it's not actually going to hide the color yet because I haven't created the system that actually goes and hides the color. But we can check to see if the entities or the components have been removed from the entities. So let's guess... Oops. Okay, so they've been guessed, and now once the phase changes, so it's changed to cleanup, and okay, so this is not what I want because these two tiles still have the tile revealed component. So what have I done? Oh, because wait, I was gonna say, yeah, how come? Actually, they should be deleted. Let me see if the system has run. No, it hasn't run any. So, oh, because I didn't, nothing inserts this command or adds this command component. So I want to look at the reveal timer watcher and then add that command component. Let's do that now. Okay, so I think that was the issue. Yeah, because it's not going to try to remove anything until that command is given. It's got to recompile. Okay, so let's do another guess. How about C4B3? Alright, and so still on the reveal, so now it's cleanup. Okay, and yeah, now these two tiles don't have the tile revealed component. So now I can see I still have this tile color updated component on it, which, again, we don't really need this because in the final version, the tiles have pictures instead of having colors, but I think I can go ahead and use it in these temporary classes until that's done. So this face color, I think I'll change this, and to make this even more obvious to me, because I keep realizing this, I'll put test at the beginning, and I think I'll name it to revealed. And so let's make another class kind of like this. No, it doesn't need to be a job, I don't think. So tile face color unrevealer. Oh, let's go ahead and copy this over. I don't want the duplicate there. So, I don't really care if it runs after that. So what I want to do here is I want to find any tile that has this test component but not the revealed component. So switch those, and then I will do I need to do all this? Okay, yeah, so it's setting the color, but I don't have to do that anymore, so I can, well, I guess I still have to set the color, but I need to set it to gray. Let's see here. Okay, I don't know why I passed that information. I wonder what the base color is. The normal base color. Okay, this is just making fake textures. That's white, actually. Is it a prefab? Oh. It just uses a basic, like the basic material. Oh yeah, this is even making a copy of the material. Don't really need to make a copy every time. I feel like the code that instantiates objects should do this, but again, this is just test, so okay, well, I'm not going to make a copy, at least on this unrevealer, because we know that each of the materials has already been copied. I was trying to see what the default is, but it doesn't actually say. Well, let's just test this out and see if it works, and then I can try and fiddle with the colors. Anyway, so... okay, and the material is just the render material. I don't need to make a copy of it. Alright, and so we want to actually remove this component now, instead of adding it. Okay. Trying to see what I don't need. Okay, so I guess I just didn't need that one thing. Alright. Okay. Looks like I just got disconnected. Not sure how long I've been off, but let me wait a little bit to see if when Twitch comes back up. Sorry about that. Not sure what happened. I don't think I lost any frames until that point. Alright, I think I'm live again. Yeah, so sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened to my internet there, but I don't think it was out for too long, at least based on the OBS notifications. So anyway, I was just kind of thinking about how, like, which of this data I needed for this algorithm. So yeah, basically it looks at each tile and sees which tiles have this color revealed component. And we want to find ones that have the test component, but then the but shouldn't be revealed based on the game logic, and in that case we'd hide them. And then I was realizing how inefficient I had done it before. But yeah, it is just test, so I probably shouldn't worry about it too much. Let's go ahead and see what happens now. So I'm hoping that the tiles will hide themselves when the reveal phase is complete. Unless they're a match, of course. Okay, so it's not a match, so when the reveal timer is complete, yeah, then they do hide themselves. Okay. So I'm going to make sure that it's not like continually running. Nope, it's not run. Okay. Yeah, let's looking and see what systems were active. This chat command parser system runs every frame, but I guess it has to. What does it do? Okay, so just every update it checks the queue to see if it has any entries. Alright. Anyway, so I think we're done with that. Oh, I should have checked to see what entities are there that I need to delete for the next round. And then we'll probably be able to circle back around and start another round of guesses. And when I do that, I think I'm gonna hack the tile pairer so that tiles 1 and 2 are always a pair, and 3 and 4, so on and so forth, so I can guess them easily. Anyway, so I want to get rid of this featured guess match result. Yeah, because that tells you if it was matching or not. Then I want to get rid of the featured guess. And then, yeah, any verified guesses, because we're not gonna need them anymore. Okay, let me just pause this. That way I can look at the entities. Alright, so this will be round, cleanup, entity destroyer. Should it be simulation? No, it should be the initialization. Alright, so we're basically just going to make a giant entity query or delete query. And the delete query will have a new entity. Query description. And we'll want any entities that have any of those components that I named off. And then also, I might want a separate one for the tile, verified tile guesses, but alright, so component type. So what was it? Oh, the debugger cleared. Okay, well there's no point in keeping this around if it's not going to show me. I think I remember anyway. I wanted to get rid of the featured guess and then this guess match result. Which I just realized this is missing a D. Alright, so get rid of that. And also the featured guess. No, that's not right. Okay. So maybe I should make this an array because we're going to have a couple queries here. So equals new entity query, and then first. So we'll get any entities that have that are one of these components, and then we'll want another one that has verified tile guesses. Okay, and we'll require singleton for update, so this will just be in the cleanup phase. And then we're going to want to require each of those queries. I should probably change this to be plural. Alright, so we'll require that for update. Okay, and then on update, all we'll do is... do I want to do it post update, or should I do it? Should probably do it in a buffer. So let's do private buffer command. What is it? Entity command buffer system. Let's do it at the beginning of the next turn, which is usually when I like to delete stuff. So that's world get existing system begin initialization entity command buffer system. Alright, and then we just need to get the buffer. And then for each query in the delete query, we can tell the buffer to delete or destroy entities. And if you pass destroy entity a query, then it will actually destroy all the entities in the query. And I tested it, and it doesn't like snapshot the query. It actually just keeps the query around and then deletes them when the buffer runs, which is okay in this case. So I think that's all I have to do here. So let me go test this out. And I think the last thing I'm going to have to do is just make some system that will switch to the next phase. Maybe we'll have another timer because there might be some animations that are playing, I don't know. It's heard my dog, I think. Alright, okay. Oh yeah, so on cleanup we can see there's that featured guess component got deleted. Also the featured guess match. And all verified guesses. And I remember if I guess again, I think it gets deleted immediately because I have another system that deletes any incoming guesses until we're in the correct phase again. Okay, so that's fine. So now how do I want to transition to the next phase? I mean, right now we don't really need a timer because everything just happens immediately. So we could just wait a frame and then update to the next phase. Maybe I will do that because there's no use like programming in a timer because we don't know if we'll need one later. If it's just based on an animation, we just want to wait until that's complete. Alright, so I'll just call it cleanup complete watcher. And it's not really going to watch anything, it's just going to transition on the very first frame it can. Don't need... I was going to get an entity query, but I don't need one. So require phase cleanup. Oh, I'm not in the right namespace. Also, I wonder... These watchers, yeah, they just do this on post update command. I can maybe, I think I can see that causing an issue because if one of them updates after another, then there could be a chance that they don't see that they see the changes too early or something. I don't know if what I said made sense. It's kind of hard to explain. What is it? You know? Oh, it's not showing up because I'm not using the components. But basically, like, see, this system needs to wait for this phase cleanup. So say it runs immediately after this phase reveal timer watcher, but then something else like the entity destroyer also requires the round cleanup, but it runs before the reveal timer watcher, then it would see this phase round cleanup has been added the next frame, but then cleanup complete watcher is gonna destroy this on the beginning of the next phase, so then it on the next frame, so then this entity destroyer would never run. So there's a couple ways I can fix that. Let's go ahead and take a look at it now, actually. Because I think this could be an issue in the future. And I think to solve it, I'll want to split the initialization phase up. Okay, so now everything here has run. Don't really care about that stuff. So this is all Unity's stuff, so it can run whenever it wants because it doesn't really affect my game. Oh, okay, I was looking for this system in the list, but that's because it's still updating in the simulation system group. So what you can do, you can actually make your own system groups and tell them to run inside another one. And probably what I'll do is have like a phase transition system group that will run at a certain point, and then everything else will be at, like, I don't know, phase setup, which will be all these other ones that have to run before we actually simulate the game, but need to run after we've decided what phase the game is going to be in for this frame. So I think what I'll do, alright, so this will be, I'll just call this initialization subgroups. Okay, and so let's call this, I guess, phase transition system group. And to do this, you have it inherit from component system. Oh yeah, system group, component system group. And I don't think you have to give it anything else. So you tell it when to run. So this will run in the initialization system group, and we want it to run after the time updating system. I think is what do I call it? Game time manager. I don't know why it's not showing up. Oh, because this is again the wrong namespace. I wish I could have it automatically put that in there. So anyway, that's all we have to do here. And then we want to have a phase transition entity command buffer system. So I think I can do entity command buffer system. If I parent it from this, it will automatically handle that for me. And we'll want this to update in the initialization system group. And we'll want it to update after the phase transition system group. So any phase transition system group components or systems should use this command buffer system. And then finally we'll have one more system group. I guess I'll call this phase setup system group. And this will run after this buffer system. Okay, so this will be a lot easier to see how it works when I can go back into play mode and you can see all these systems in the debugger. So again, this will run in the initialization system group. And as far as I know, doing this, besides introducing another command buffer system, doesn't actually like slow down the frame rate of the game, which is good to know. Alright, so this will run after the buffer system. Alright. And yeah, you don't want to add too many buffer systems because that does slow down the game, because every time there's a buffer system that has commands, it has to basically wait for all jobs to complete that use the buffer system and then execute them, all the commands. So you want to be sparing with it, but I think this one will be useful. Okay, so now I need to look through most of these systems to see the chat logic initializer. This one doesn't really matter, but I'll just put it in the phase initialization. Oh, why is it not showing up? Oh, I call it setup. Do we want to change it? I don't really want to call it initialization because that's what the super group is called, but okay, and then this cleanup complete watcher will go in the phase transition system group. We probably want, yeah, again, this doesn't really matter, so I'll just, you know what? Yeah, we don't really care where this runs, so. Alright, so match checker, simulation. We handled this one specifically. So finished watcher, okay, so this is a phase transition. Okay, and what I want to do here is instead of using post update commands, I want it to use a specific buffer, specifically that transition buffer. I guess I don't really have to get the specific one here. And then buffer system equals world get existing system. Okay, and then buffer equals buffer system dot create command buffer. Okay, and then all I have to do is just change post update to the buffer, and that's all done. So now the post update commands would run immediately after the system was complete, but now it'll just run when this buffer executes its commands, which will help us avoid some bugs. Alright, so this is an initialization system group, and this is like exactly what I wanted the phase setup system group for. Alright. Again, this is a phase transition. Okay, yeah, so I need to get the buffer again. Let's, we don't have to type all that out again. Try and copy and paste what I can. In fact, it'd probably be faster if I did this for all of the watchers at once, but Right, and then just replace post update commands with the buffer. Okay, so guest timer start. Oh, I already did that. Oh, okay, I was going backwards. So subgroups, that message destroyer runs at the end of the frame. Out of phase guest deleter is simulation. Okay, so this is another system that just kind of initializes some game data, so it doesn't really matter when it runs. Alright, so this is another phase transition. Okay, and I can get rid of, oops, get rid of this because it explicitly always runs after that. Okay, I think now I will just wait until I find all the rest of the watching systems. Okay, so this is phase setup. Okay, I think this should go in the phase setup. Presentation, simulation. This should go in phase setup. And simulation. Okay, so I guess this was the last phase transitioner. So again, I'll just copy and paste some lines of code to enable this. Oh, hey Bricksparts, how you doing? Okay, I needed to copy and paste this. And then... Okay, so I think I'm just about done. You're good. Been trying to think through some design issues that realized came up. Oh, I know how that is. Oh, you're the one that you were doing that puzzle game, right? About, if I remember right, it was about jumping. Okay, so yeah, so here we can see those system groups I made. We've got, okay, well actually no phase transition system group has run yet. But I think they'll appear there as we add them, or as we transition through the game. Yeah, so now the guest timer watcher. Okay, so I think something is going wrong here because... Oh, yeah, I've got errors. Object reference not set to an instance. Although after you finished it, you decided to take a step back. Since you aren't too sure it was the best idea you could go with for a full release game. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've had that experience too, so... After doing more research, it seems that unfortunately puzzle games are really hard to be successful with. I could see that, yeah, it's kind of a niche genre, unfortunately. Alright, so what is the issue? So it's saying this isn't... maybe because get existing system is returning null. Okay, so I should just say get or create. Probably because this is something that I set up and not something that came with... that's set up explicitly by Unity. What else? I was looking for any other phase transition systems. I know there's one more. Oh, here it is. Okay, so now it should create that system. I guess it depends the order of creation, so makes sense. At the very least, you'd probably want to find a gimmick or mechanic that is more obvious, that it has depth to it, to people who enjoy puzzle games. Yeah, I can see that. Maybe so it's like more obvious that they would want to try it out. That's always one of the most difficult things of game development anyway. Going to do a top-down game, it might be a roguelike, but possibly something else. Oh, still early in the process. Okay, well, good luck. Yeah, keep me posted. Okay, so let's try this. Assertion failure. I thought flash. So obviously something is going wrong. What did I do this time? Look at the state of the game. So we're in the... Okay, so it looks like everything just like transitioned super quickly. Yeah, I've always wanted to do a roguelike. I should spend some time on it, but they're kind of daunting to me because they require so much content, I feel like. Create entity batch pass to select entity is null. Oh, maybe it's saying that the query that was passed to it was null? Doesn't tell me. All systems. Yeah, it's not telling me what the actual command was. But we can see, obviously, it's transitioning really quickly, so I would guess I messed up one of the timers. Okay, I should have realized that this quick fix is going to have some issues, but... Alright, so let's see what could happen here. So we transition from the guess timer. I think at least that worked. And then it goes to pick and check guess, which is all fine, but I think something was wrong with the reveal timer. So what sets this information again? I guess it happened at the beginning of the guess calculation finished. Okay, so it just adds this. Oh, this was added in post-update commands, not in the buffer, so I was adding like an empty timer. Okay. That's actually a good explanation of what I was afraid would happen if I didn't set up these system groups. One idea you're really interested in is the idea of modular enemies that are built out of various parts. Each effect attacks, movement. Oh, that sounds pretty fun. Yeah, like, trying to think of that one. N64 game, but another idea you've been thinking a lot about is making movement in a top-down game as skillful and interesting as a platformer. That could be pretty cool too. It's not really something you think has been done very well yet. Yeah, Hyperlight Drifter was what came to mind when you said that, but... Snip with dashes, chaining dashes... Yeah, there was something I read that a good way to start a game is to kind of make some like system that's just fun to play around with without actually having any goals or anything, and then you know you've got a good base. So I think that's a good idea what you have. Oh, I found a match by random. Okay, so we can see here, I guess this is good test. So even though we have the command unreveal unpaired tiles active, we can see that the these tiles have not been unrevealed because we have tile pair guest as on it. But this does also reveal a bug to me that this command is staying around on the singleton entity, even though we want to delete it. So what I need to do is on the unrevealer, I need to have it not rely on this query actually. So if this command is on it, it will always run. But then this iJob for each with entity will only run for entities that don't have this tile pair guest. So it's functionally going to be the same, but it will always delete that command. Okay, yeah, I'm glad that you've probably heard of that too. I forget. I think I read it in, oh, I can't remember the name of the book now, but yeah, I've always tried to do that whenever I do a game that has some kind of movement. Okay, so I'm just making sure everything still works. You know, Mark Brown mentioned it in one of his GMTK videos. That maybe is where I heard of it. Yeah, movement in Mario 64. Yeah, that's a good example. Okay, so I think that we're pretty much done with this. So now I can go exit the cleanup round, or cleanup phase. Which, I think I'll just copy this over so I don't have to type all this code out again. Okay, so we still need the buffer system, but I don't need the state because that was to get the game time. And then I don't need this query either. So this system is going to be pretty simple right now. It's just going to check to see if this cleanup round is active, and if it is, it will delete it on the next frame. And I guess transition to the next phase. Which, okay, so at this point we'd know if every tile has been revealed or not. But I'm just gonna assume it hasn't been, and we'll just start the next round. So let me see here. Where is... Okay, so yeah, this entity, so this bootstrap I have here just adds the accepting guesses phase, which is kind of hacky, but I just wanted to get something to actually start the game. Probably write a note. Commands, board, better, game, loop, startup. Right now it's in the board creator. Is that what I called it? Yeah, so I mean that's kind of not really a good place for it because it doesn't have anything to do with actually setting up the game phase. I'll be right back. Okay, Brick Sparts. Yeah, so I just want to have a little note there so I'll remember to do it, but I guess it'd be kind of obvious because at some point we're going to have an introduction, animation, and things like that. Alright, so mostly what I was looking for is we remove the cleanup, and also we want to add that phase accepting guesses. And then we also want to remove that one command that tells the game to continually delete incoming guesses. Phase delete incoming guesses. Which I was wondering if I wanted to have something that would like tie them together, kind of, so that, because really you'd never want to have both of these active at the same time. I mean, I could even have the phase set up, like a phase setup that sees if accepting guesses is active, then it deletes this, and then if deleting is active with accepting guesses, then it would... Wait, I think I just said the same thing. So yeah, if this is active with this, it would delete the incoming guesses, but then if there's no phase accepting guesses, then it would add it. I don't know. I think I'll just leave it how it is. I think the other way would work, but again, I think sometimes I get too fancy and it causes bugs. Okay. So what I should do is watch this phase singleton. What is it now? Okay, so now we're back to accepting guesses. So I can guess again, hopefully, and it should run again. Cool, okay. So far, so good. I'll test it one more time, and then I'm gonna go hack the tile pairer so that it does it in a way that I can always know where the pairs are. Alright. Okay, so good. That was actually pretty painless. Okay, so next up, oh yeah, I was gonna hack the pairer, but it seems like there was something else I wanted to do. Oh yeah, I want to reduce the periods of the timers. Timer starter. Yeah, so let's just shorten this to, I don't know, it could be even less because we're always just gonna have one guess. And then the reveal. I guess it's the finished watcher. Let's just have this to 1 second. That way we can speed things up. Welcome back, Brick Sparts. Yeah, so I think that's... Yeah, I wanted to do that. And then the tile pairer, I'm going to have a test for the version of this that will just pair A1 with A2, A3 with A4, and so on. But I need to be careful how I do this because I don't want to mess up the code here. Balancing form and function, or better yet, something with great form and function. So you mean like the gameplay balanced with like the art design? Trying to think of a good example. Well, going back to Mario 64, I figure I think that Mario Odyssey is very fun to play and then also looks great. But yeah, it is kind of sometimes that can be difficult because you don't want to have the art get in the way of the gameplay, but like certain things, especially like animations, they need to be quick so that the controls feel responsive, is what comes to mind. interesting art while still being readable. Oh, okay. Let me think. First thing that comes to mind about that, maybe like something Hyperlight Drifter. Oh, right, because of maybe particle effects. I really liked, I mean, it's been a while since I played it, so I could be looking through it with rose-tinted glasses, but I thought that Darkest Dungeon was pretty good in that regard. It had a very nice, like, moody atmosphere, but I could always read the UI, and it was pretty precise. Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Spelunky was good too. Sometimes they just obfuscate the collision walls, even enemies, which was annoying. Oh, okay, yeah. That is kind of bad. Maybe like the older, like the 2D Metroid games, I thought were pretty good because they had like you could really always see where the collision was for the edges of the walls. Especially, I think Metroid Fusion was really good at that, if I remember right. And then usually the enemies were always very bright colored against darker backgrounds. And then the platforms had a highlight around the edge, and then although the actual art was usually kind of dark, so it usually stood out pretty well. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to hack this so that it always generates these pairs in a specific way. Probably the best way to do this while leaving this code intact is either just create an entirely different system that does what I want, or a different job. So I'm trying to think in my head what would be best. Probably, I should probably just do a different system, and then I'll have some entity on here, or query on here that looks to make sure that a test component's not visible or not active, maybe. I'm probably spending too long trying to figure this out. But let's just make this system, and then I can see about disabling this tile pair. Okay, so this will be test tile pair. And I guess I'll copy it, although I know I'm gonna have to delete a lot. Do I need this? I mean, really all I have to do, because most of this worker is trying to figure out random pairs, and then I'm trying to remember how this works. It's been a long time. Okay, so what this does is it picks tiles that should be paired, and then what this does is it picks unused images or colors. Oh, maybe okay, so really all I have to do is change this so that it does the pairs in a specific way. Okay, so maybe I got a little ahead of myself trying to do it entirely different. Alright, Bricks Farts, I hope that some of my recommendations can give you inspiration on what you're looking for. And yeah, good luck on your game as well. Thank you. And thanks for stopping by. It's always nice to chat with you. Alright. Okay, so what I want to do here, I think, maybe I should just have like a specific compiler directive even. Or I could insert a different job here. I don't know, I don't I think I'm thinking way too hard about this, but in fact, let's put the job in a different file. I think that's better. Okay. So this tile pair, oh, it's private, so I can't use it. Well, I guess I can just make it not private. It doesn't really matter that much. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just delete this whole thing, and this is just going to be a job. So public struct tile, let's see, test tile error worker. And basically what it doesn't need the random. It's just going to take this queue. I guess it will need the positions. Okay, so I'll get rid of that. Okay, that's nice. I wasn't sure that you could actually do that. So yeah, instead of picking random pairs, which is what this does, it's just gonna loop through these positions. And then add. Okay, well, these actually aren't sorted, so that's kind of a pain. I guess I could sort them. What does tile position have? So it just has an integer position, so I just want to sort it by position. So let's see. Positions. I think this might break something if I sort in order. Or sort in place, I mean. Does anything else use the positions? I don't know. Oh well, no, because we deallocate after this. Which I kind of want to get rid of that tag, because I have a feeling Unity is going to deprecate it. Okay. Well, I'll leave that there for now. So yeah, since this is going to be deallocated after this worker is complete, we can just sort it in place. And I don't really care if it runs super sort by index super efficiently here, because this is just for testing and it's not gonna run that well or run that often. Okay, what I wanted it to do is generate a function for me, but I don't think it's going to. Can it be static even? So what's it not like? Not all code. Oh, well, that makes sense. Sort. What's going on there? Oh, I just had to give it the type? What's it not like now? No overload method for sort takes one argument. Okay, what does it do? Oh, really? I thought I've done this before. Sort by index. Okay, well, let me... Unity is not going to play nice right now, I guess. Alright, so Unity, native, array, sort. Maybe you can only sort native lists or something? Sort, pass it the array, our slice. Okay, so I guess... Really? I thought I for sure had passed a function to it before. Okay, I don't know. This isn't something that I need. Looking to see. It looks like this is like a. Okay, this is a implemented sort function, which is not what I want. Okay, this isn't happening or helping. I thought I had done this before, so I didn't. You know what? There's a simpler way that I can do this since I know the number of pairs. Maybe I'll be even more lazy and just hard code in the pairs I create. Okay, so there's 16 squares. There's gonna be 8 pairs. Yeah, I'm spending too long doing this, so less than 8 plus pairs in Q new tile pair equals new, and the tile position just has an integer in it, so I times 2. Oh yeah, I needed to pass B. Yeah, so again, this is like super hacky because it's not extensible and it doesn't take into account the actual like setup of the board. But instead of spending forever trying to figure out how to sort a native array, we'll just do it this way because it will get the job done. And okay, so this tile pairer, instead of calling this worker, it's going to call a test worker. It's new, and it's just gonna pass the tile pair queue. Schedule. Okay, I guess we'll still just have it work on the same dependencies, even though it doesn't actually need them anymore. Okay, they'll still get random images, but the pairs will always be the same. Okay, and so now something I want to do is I want to get rid of these deallocate on job completion whenever I see them, because I think Unity is going to deprecate them soon because they have this better dispose method. So yeah, let's do that. So deallocated that on after the tile pairs worker, deallocate images after the image assignment worker, and then the assigned images after this. Let's go one at a time, I guess. Okay, so images dispose, and then assigned images dispose. And I can also clean up this tile pair queue. It doesn't need to be created here. I can just create it as needed. So it doesn't have to be persistent anymore, and I can get rid of that on destroy. It's new native queue tile pair, and this can be a temp job now, and then we'll dispose of the queue down here. Yeah, so I like it doing it this way because that way you handle disposing of all these native collections in the same way instead of having some of them use that deallocate on job completion tag, because this never worked for anything except a native array anyway. So it was always kind of a pain. This should be depth, and then I need to. Oh yeah, so this should go down here actually. and I'm going to comment this out for now, I guess. And then, so make sure I don't forget to do this. Bug.log using debug tile pair assignments. Okay, so sometime in the future I'll know to come and change this. So, and then I should tag this so this is the actual code for normal. And probably, I mean, if I really wanted to, I could use a compiler directive, but that seems like too much work. All right, so let's test this out. I mean, it should be the same, except A1 and A2 should always be a pair. So let's check that out. Oh. Okay, then I guess something is wrong with... Okay, is it? Okay, maybe it works like this. Maybe it's A1 and B1 are a pair. Okay. That's kind of weird, but... I mean, I guess that's fine. I just didn't realize that's how the numbering worked. So C1 and D1 are a pair. And then A2, B2. And C2, D2. And A3, B3. C3, D3. So far, everything's working. Although I think something weird will happen after I guess this last one, but we'll see. Okay, so nothing bad happened right now, but let's take a look. Yeah, so all the tiles have been revealed and have been guessed. So if I guess A1, B2, what happens? Okay, well nothing actually happens. It says guess is not a match. That's interesting. Does it already... I didn't know that I had checked to see if things have been guessed already yet. Okay, so let's see. Where is the thing that... the match calculator? So this looks for featured guess. Okay. Yeah, so the query is just for all tiles. So why did it say guess was not a match? Because these images should still be equal. Well, I guess that doesn't really matter because this should never happen, but I am a little surprised about that. Or maybe I picked the wrong guess. Let me try that again. But yeah, it says not a match, so somehow it doesn't know about tiles that have been guessed, which yeah, I'm not going to worry about that bug because it doesn't really matter. What we actually need to do is go to the part that checks for guesses and make sure that, and basically disregard any guess for something that's already been guessed. But what I actually also need to do is move on, say you won, and then start the game back over again. So I need to do both of those things. Alright, so let's see. We got check commands. Guesses do not involve already revealed tiles, which... let me see. Already guessed paired tiles. Alright, so if I want to loop back around, I need to be able to restart the game. And if I need to restart the game, I need to figure out how the gameplay loop is actually going to start. So we have about 20 minutes. I guess we can go ahead and start on it. I don't know how much we'll be able to get done. So right now, we just hop right in to the actual gameplay, because the game just starts off and places this phase. So I think we need to have a couple more. Let's public struct. So we need to have like a pre-game phase, but what would actually happen? I mean, for the final game, before the game, it will look at, it'll let players spend points and then figure out how the players have changed the rules, but obviously we're not going to worry about that right now. I think we'll just have like a pre-start timer. And then we can go from there. I should probably have like some UI element that kind of tells the state of the game, but right, so pre-start. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now this board creator will now actually do the phase pre-start, which is makes a little bit more sense. And then I'll have like a pre-start timer. Excuse me. And since we can enter this phase multiple ways, I probably will want to have some other system start the timer so I don't have to start it from 2 different places. And then we'll have something that will watch for the timer to finish, and then we'll start the game from there. And I think I'll make this timer like, I don't know, 0.1 seconds. But then, okay, I can get rid of this window. Besides that, we'll also want to have, well, I guess I shouldn't get ahead of myself, but we'll want to have some phase that's like game over, which I don't think this game can ever end in a loss, so game over is actually good in this respect, but okay. And then that will clean up that entire game instead of just cleaning up the round. And then transition to the pre-start. Alright, so I guess we might as well go ahead and do it. So it would be struct, phase, game, cleanup. Alright. What do I want to call this? Like pre-start. Well, I guess pre-game is fine. I'm trying to think. Well, before the game starts, I mean the streamer could change some settings, but that'll probably be separate of this loop, so the streamer can do settings at any time. Okay, well this is fine. I'll just leave the name. I think I just changed it without refactoring. Alright, okay, so let's have the pre-start timer creator. I'm starting to get a lot of systems, so I wonder if I should separate these somehow, make some that are for like pre-game and then some that are for the actual game, and then some that we could even go by the game phase. I don't know, we'll have to think about that. Okay, so what this will do, I kind of want to make this simple, and instead of having to worry about a command, I think I'll do that this way. So fire for update, get entity query, new entity query description, and we'll want it to have the pre-start component. So component type read only pre-start. No, that's not right. Phase game. Or I think it's called pre-game start. And then I want it to have none of some other component. And then I'll just create this now. So pre-start timer created. I think this is fine. I'll just need to remember to delete this component when I'm done with it. It's kind of just like the opposite of the commands, but I don't really, like I said, we can start the pre-start phase multiple ways, so the less times I have to remember about starting this up, the better. Which is maybe going back to that guess auto deleter thing, something that I should keep in mind for that, but I don't know. I'll just go with this for now. I think it'll be okay. And then on update. Alright, so first this is going to be in our phase setup system group. Oh, I did not like that. Oh. Oh yeah, it's the wrong namespace. Okay, and I guess the buffer system we'll use for this will actually be the begin simulation. World, get existing, begin simulation, and then var buffer equals buffer system dot create command buffer. Okay, so we want to create an entity for the timer, which means I need to get the entity archetype. Alright, so timer archetype. Equals entity manager dot create archetype, and this we'll want to have, gosh, I can tell I've been programming all day when my fingers start being uncontrollable. Alright, so I'm going to need to create another timer here, so this will just be the pre-game timer, I guess. Okay, so I think how I'll do it, yeah, I was just thinking that I think on the pre-game we'll have assumed that the board has already been created, because we'll probably have some other, because this is like a countdown until the game starts, so we'll probably have some other phase that lets players change the rules of the game, and because that would maybe have the like the size of the board change. So anyway, I was just thinking about something that I don't really need to right now, but timer archetype, and then I need to tell buffer.set component new timer. All right, and then I have to give it the information, which in order to get that, I need to get the game timer, which is in this game state. Oh my gosh. Okay. So start time equals the current time, which I can get that way, and then the period, I'm just going to have it be 1 second. Okay, so what do I do now? I guess nothing else needs to be done here. Oh, except I do need to add that this component. So add component to the command singleton. Okay, and then once this timer runs out, we'll start the game. So let's just go ahead and make that timer, that system. Alright, so pre-game timer watcher. I wonder, like these, I'm starting to make a lot of timer watchers that are basically the same. I wonder if I could do a generic class. That might be kind of interesting. Or if I just had like a timer watcher class, and then it would wait until the timer is done, and then, well, it would have to change how the, okay, well, it would wait until the timers are done, and then it would maybe create some event, and then another system could listen to that event, but I don't know if that's actually very helpful. Because like, how I have it now, works fine, but I'm having to duplicate a lot of code. Let me see. Let's get up all these timer watchers and see. So we have the guest timer watcher. Well, I guess we only have two other. The guess and the reveal. But are they any different? No, they're exactly the same except for this transition to next phase and then this component here. Okay, well let's do this. So game, let's I guess generic timer watcher. And yeah, this is fine. Like generic component systems, Unity will not automatically add to the I guess update queue. So you have to, because basically I don't think it can work with generic, so you have to create a child. Okay, so this will be the timer tag, then where timer tag is an I component data. Alright, so let's just copy this. Oh yeah, this will actually be an abstract class because this transition next phase will be an abstract function. Yeah, I usually don't do polymorphism anymore because a lot of times in game development it's not super useful, but I think this is a perfect time to use it. Okay, and so we'll create an entity and we'll want a timer and also the timer tag. Okay, and then we'll want to have the phase, so also phase Although I don't really know if that actually matters that much because we're also looking for a specific timer. So do I want to even, like, I could just get rid of this, is what I'm thinking. I mean, yeah, I guess so, because, yeah, we already have the tag on the timer. So I think that's okay. So yeah, we have this. Alright, so the buffer is always the same. So maybe let's just always... Okay, let's have the transition to the next phase, and then we'll pass the buffer. So, protected, abstract, transition to next phase. Oh, I have to have the return type, so transition to next phase. Or I could just even call it timer complete. That's probably better, because some of these might not be a transition. Oh yeah, obviously I can't have a body on a generic. So entity, command, buffer, and then I'll just pass it the buffer. So what I can do here is we can go ahead and just destroy the timer. So buffer dot buffer equals buffer system dot create command buffer, and then buffer. Oh gosh, can't type. Right, so we'll destroy the timer query because that all of them do that, so I think I'm fine with it. And then we'll call handle timer complete, passing the buffer. And that's good. Okay, so now what I do here is maybe in case something goes wrong, I'll comment out all the original code. Yeah. And then this will be the generic timer watcher of type guess timer. And I just need to tell it to implement abstract class, and I can copy all this code, except I don't need to worry about getting the buffer. What's wrong there? I think I have... I'm trying to see what's going on here because I have too many... Or do I? Okay, no, it's fine. I thought I had too many curly braces. Anyway, so yeah, I have this, and then I can uncomment that, and then just remove that code. Okay, I think that's going to be pretty nice, actually. So again, I'll just leave this code for now in case something goes horribly wrong. But generic timer watcher, reveal timer, and then implement abstract class. Okay, and again, we don't need to destroy the timers anymore. Okay, and so for the pregame timer watcher, I can just parent generic timer watcher. Oh yeah, and I don't have the right namespace, but and it's a pregame timer. And what I need to do here is remove the component or the phase pregame start from the command singleton entity. And then I need to remove that command I created to start the timer. So timer. Oh wait. phase pre-game start timer created. And then I need to add in the accepting guesses phase. And add in oh no, I don't have to do anything else. I was gonna say I need to do something about that ignore guesses, but it doesn't exist at well actually it might exist at this point. Because we don't want to accept guesses when the game isn't active. So just so I remember, so phase delete incoming guesses, we'll just remove that. If it doesn't exist, I don't think it will cause any issues. Actually, like, where's the? I had the pre-game timer creator. This should really like just add the remove incoming guesses. Remove. Let's see, fade. Gosh. Yeah, should just add that to it at this point. I think that's fine. Also, yeah, this pre-game timer watcher needs to update in the right group. So really this pre-start timer creator, I should set pre-start game setup. Because what it actually does is yeah, because it actually like kind of set up that phase. So okay, so I've changed quite a bit. I probably should have tested things a bit more piecemeal, but let's just hope for the best and see what works and what doesn't. So there's going to be a short pre-start period. I think it's already over because it was just a second. So yeah, now it's accepting guesses. Okay, I'm going to guess 2 wrong just to see what happens. Okay, so nothing wrong actually. The timers are all working. Alright, cool. It all worked. And then we can see the timers in the list. So we got guess reveal, cleanup, blah blah blah. Okay. So a couple things I learned from this that I might want to do is have like basically instead of having these transition systems create everything like both deal with ending a phase and starting a phase. I might want to create separate systems that set up the next phase like this one does. So I wonder if I can like kind of make this more generic and have like a phase changed this frame message or something, and then if that happens in these setup function or yeah these setup systems would run. Let me think about that. So extend the pre-game setup system for all phases and separate. Well, I kind of did that, so separate the transition from a phase from the transition into a phase code. Yeah, so that's just kind of a smart thing to do. Then we want to genericize. Yeah, I didn't think that's actually a word, but I'll go with it. Let me go ahead and type this in exactly. Component to work for all phases. Maybe entering new phase event. Okay. But anyway, it's 6:04, and I wanted to go ahead and write this because I'm probably not going to look at this project again until Monday. But maybe we'll see. But I think at that point, yeah, this game is coming along pretty well. So we'll have pretty much the whole game loop complete, which was my goal for now. And I think next we need to start looking at users and how to keep track of all the different users and how to keep track of their score. And then we'll start thinking about having them spend points and also downloading their pictures. So still got quite a bit to go because this memory is just like this card game is the basis for the game, but the real meat is actually like keeping track of users and letting them spend their points to affect the game. But that's also the most fun part, so I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, thanks everybody for coming by and watching. It's been great chatting and just programming with you all. I hope you have a great weekend. Yeah, like I said, I'll be back Monday at 3 Eastern. This is the normal time. And one weird thing about next week is I have plumbers coming, and actually they're gonna like redo all the pipes. So probably I might not be able to stream on Thursday because I have no idea how long they're gonna be here, and I'm afraid they're gonna be really loud. So and then Friday they're also gonna come that morning, so I'm not sure how long that will be. So I might not be able to stream Thursday and Friday. We'll see, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is looking good. And yeah, so I guess I'll see you Monday. I'll put some links in chat if you're interested in checking out my social media. I also have like a YouTube and a GitHub where you can see project code for my past small projects. You can check out the video description if you're watching from YouTube, which thank you for that. And yeah, I guess I'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.